It's the content creator with force like Darth Vader. One path is the way that I'm taking, getting closer to God in a tight situation. We're back with another video. This is another excerpt from the book, Cracking the Code, 3rd edition. And this one is entitled Helpful Notes for Pressure Situations, Strategic Thoughts. Strategic thought. The best solution for courtroom situations is to try to conduct your life so none of its officers ever feel a need, nor ever have a reason to speak with you about anything. Doing business with these characters on their terms is not much different than falling in the quicksand. The entire system, top to bottom, inside and out, has been constructed over the millennia with a mind for treachery, deceit, and is corrupt literally beyond your present comprehension. It is a self-aggrandizing enslavement system designed for the express purpose of punishing all outsiders for the crime of being an outsider. You need to take every possible precaution to avoid slipping into its clutches. You are the declared enemy in war of those who own and dictate over the system. As long as you know this, you have a decent chance of survival. You will suffer in direct proportion to the degree you believe this not to be true. Once you have fallen prey, there is precious little you can do to escape its wrath. Fact, there are more Americans in jail, on probation, and on trial per capita than in any other country in the world, including communist China, where 15 to 20 people are executed every day. What you see in America is not what you get. America has been converted into a movie set with false fronts and phony actors pretending to be your friend. Trust Big Brother with any information about yourself, and it will be used against you no matter the pledge used to extract it, without exception. So the basic message here is don't do anything illegal, reduce all unnecessary traffic with Big Brother, and do not do anything to incite its curiosity or animosity, both behaviorally and financially. Do the right thing at all times. Tactical thought. For those who have had the misfortune to be dragged into Big Brother's meat grinder, the following ideas are offered. You are not your name. Names are property, and your name is your property, no matter what form it appears in. Your trade name is common law copyright. Your true name is autographed common law copyright. Any name used by anyone in their system to identify, reference you is your property and cannot be lawfully taken without incurring the obligation of compensating you. Your name is not copyrighted statutorily because you are a flesh and blood man, not a corporation, and deal exclusively in the common law. Since the law not compel impossibilities, you only have one option, common law, which you have assessed by copyrighting your property. The entire issue revolves around someone using your property without compensating you. As in all other commercial transactions in life, if someone wants to use your property, he has to pay. Publishing your copyright notice and obtaining the affidavit of publishing from the newspaper, and then recording an original copy of the affidavit after having made a few certified copies via copy certification by document custodian, cements your standing in law, common law, and your supreme claim regarding your property. They are holding the wrong guy. Per your hold harmless and indemnity agreement, you have a statement from the trade name, indemnifying true name, and holding that party harmless for whatever trouble comes his way. Trade name acknowledge that you are neither a surety nor an accommodation party for the trade name, which has indemnified you for any of its misadventures. They kidnapped you and are holding you for ransom because of his alleged troubles. You are neither the guy that's in trouble, nor are you responsible in any way for the guy that is allegedly in trouble. The judge, Mr. Last Name or Sir, has taken your property and is using it without your authorization and without compensating you. Following notification of the terms of the use of your property, the judge consents and agrees with granting you a security interest in all his assets, land, and property for the purpose of securing payment from him for the obligation incurred. In the event he elects to execute the contract, you already have a signed security agreement from him. His all caps trade name signature appears on the signature line of the security agreement in typewritten form. Valid signature per UCC subsection 1201, 39, and 3401. Note, the same type of mechanism that IRS uses to sign on your behalf is used to obtain the typewritten signature of the agent principal using your trade name for financial gain without compensating you. 26 United States Code 6020, notice of deficiency, refund for fraud. Ordering a meal in a restaurant incurs a common law obligation to compensate the provider of the food and executes the contract without signature. Voluntary use of the trade name after having been noticed of fees for its use likewise executes the contract and incurs the obligation of payment without signature. The unauthorized user's signature on the security agreement authorizes the filing of a UCC financing statement. A claim against everything the unauthorized user owns and cannot be invalidated. Obligation of contracts is inviolate. The contract is purely private and purely consensual. Many, even at higher levels of government, have tried to remove, disqualify, invalidate, negate such filings, all unsuccessfully so. The only reason you are on their turf is for the purpose of doing business, even though it is all a case of mistaken identity and they have the wrong guy in custody. Since they do not have your authorization for using your property, you must enforce the terms of the consensual contract regarding payment. Before using the techniques outlined below, you should be very familiar with the concepts as set forth in the two sets of sample dialogue between judge and sovereign and motorists and policemen, respectively, as set forth in Section 1, maintaining fiscal integrity. When your trade name is called, $500,000 for each use, both verbal and written. Speak up and convey any of these thoughts as well as you can at any particular time that seems appropriate. The name you just called is the common law copyright property, and I am the holder of the copyright, the secure party in all transactions concerning unauthorized use thereof. You may address me as secure party, respond to no other name. The party you call the defendant, the party you call a person, and is a registered copyright. In other words, my copyrighted property. You do not now have, nor have you ever had my permission to use my private property. You have been properly noticed of the fee for each unauthorized use of my property, so I can interpret your actions in no other way than you want to do business. Repeated use after notification of fees removes it from the realm of error. You do not have my authorization to use my property at any time without compensating me. If you want to withdraw from the consensual contract at this point in time and cease using my property in any manner and guarantee that none of your associates will likewise ever use my property again for any reason, I would be amenable to forgiving all unauthorized use fees incurred heretofore. However, any instance of additional use of my property at any time by either you or any of your associates confirms and executes the consensual contract and security agreement now in your possession concerning our business arrangement. The terms of our consensual contract reflect everything I am saying here. The only reason I am here is to do business, because you are holding the wrong party and holding him against his will. If you want to do business, then let's do business. Otherwise, let's call off the whole thing right now and go home. Since you insist on using my property, you have two options. One, you can show me the law that allows you to take my private property without compensating me. Or two, you can pay me. If you cannot produce the law that supports your actions, let's do business. The first thing I want to know is, how are you going to pay me? Do you understand the charges are set forth in our agreement? You can read our consensual contract if you are not familiar with the terms of the strict foreclosure, which will be enforced. As soon as you execute the agreement and the security interest attaches, any transfer of title of anything you own is a fraudulent conveyance, and any such transaction will be reversed. If the judge uses the property one more time after proper notice has been given, since you are going forward with the use of my private property without my authorization, we are now under contract and I demand to be paid with or without your cooperation. Your only option is to show me the law that allows you to take my private property and use it without compensating me in accordance with our agreement. If you are having second thoughts about our agreement, you can still do something about it while I am here. But once I walk through that door, the deal is sealed. What do you want to do? If the judge ever asserts that there is no contract, let the record show that the judge has asserted that there is no contract between him and me. If this statement is true, then there is no reason for me to being here. If this statement is true, then there is no reason for me being here. If this statement is true, then there is no reason for me being held here against my will. And I request the order of the court be released to me immediately. What's it going to be? Do we have an agreement or not? The judge will try everything in his power to get you into contract with him on his terms statutorily. Literally, the only person you are consenting to be there is to, literally, the only reason you are consenting to be there is to do business. If he uses any derivative, alteration of the name of your property, he enters the contract and you must demand payment as just compensation for its use. You can also bring up the following at any time. You have counterfeited my property and I am entitled to treble damages for whatever harm you have caused. 15 United States Code 1117B. You are holding the wrong guy. It appears that you have kidnapped me and are now holding me for ransom based solely on his alleged misconduct. Is this true? Am I in debtor's prison? Are you going to put me in debtor's prison? You have trespassed on my private property and now have a fiduciary responsibility to investigate what I have told you concerning ownership of the property that you have trespassed against before you proceed any further. Note, acceptance and registration of the private contract by the Secretary of State prove that you are not the trade name because it is unlawful for someone to contract with himself, and the Secretary of State does not accept bogus filings. In other words, there are two different parties involved here, and the name they are going after is the trade name, not you. In closing, it can be fatal to corner a judge and embarrass him in front of his contemporaries. However right you may be, with this philosophy in mind, try to temper your comments and demands so as to open the door to possible reconciliation. You most certainly are holding all the aces concerning all property registered in the name and Social Security account number of that judge's trade name. The more confident, self-assured, and well-spoken you are, the better the chance the judge will have of realizing that you can do what you say. If you invoke his ire, he may victimize you just to get even, no matter what penalties he may face down the road. The judge has so many crimes against people, hence the need for official immunity, that he can lash out automatically with no more reason in the act than a compulsion to strike back. Realize that you are on enemy turf. Respect your enemy for who he is and the power that he has, and make the best of it. Yeah, this is from Cracking the Code, the 3rd edition. And this is a very, very good book. I suggest you go and read this book yourself. I just want to go over certain parts of it that is very, very interesting. And once you do your research, you come to find out that all of this is the truth. But you have to come to that conclusion on your own. You have to do your own research. You have to look up the definition of words. This is all based on contracts. This is how a lot of these things that are going on is implemented due to the people's lack of knowledge and going through the public fool system. The government is allowed to take advantage. But I'm going to keep coming at you with this valuable information. You're going to keep studying. And then we can get somewhere. Anyway, people, like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe, people. Like, share, and subscribe. Be peaceful, stay blessed, and pray to pass the Lord's test. See you later.